From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between, this is the 50/50 Podcast, powered by National Scouting Report. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 Podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game. Here we go. It's another edition of the 50/50 Podcast, powered by our proud partners, NSR. They are the world's leading authority on all athletic recruiting. You can get more information on what they're about on Twitter, or X, I should call it, at NSR Now, as well as on Instagram at NSR_now. And you can get more information on what they're about on their website at nsr-inc.com. So awesome. Ready to go. Episode 100. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing good. Congratulations. You got all the way to the century mark. Very good.
Century mark. Yeah. Can you believe it? Somehow, some way, in spite all of my efforts, we made it this far. Right. So joining us today is, so we got the bulk of the podcast team here joining us. So we got the Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mr. Papa Socaritis himself. Rafa, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And he renewed his podcast team membership. All right. We haven't seen him in a minute there. Mr. Pete Sanchez. Coach, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing very well. It's a most wonderful time of the year. And, being it's, the holidays coming up, as well as Texas high school soccer is, in the early stages. So I can't wait, but it's really good to be back on your pod and part of the team, and yeah, just excited for finishing off 2023 strong and going into 2024.
Yeah. And of course the rook, as we call him, the rookie, right? So joining us in his first year as part of the team, the podcast team here, he is Mr. Frank Court Jr. the third, right? Frank, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm just a good old day. Got that fresh Spurs win dopamine going through my veins,
Yeah, I
just
saw that.
Got to sit back and enjoy last night, and now I'm just stoked to be on the pod. 100 episodes, like I'm sure a lot of podcasts don't even make it to 50.
Right.
I mean, 3-year anniversary plus 100, but yeah, just stoked. Going to the movies later today. Just gonna hang out pretty much after this.
Now, what are we watching? What are we watching?
We're going to see this movie called The Holdovers. I don't really know much about it. But it's getting a lot of Oscar buzz. So this is the time of year that I go and do that stuff.
Yeah. Frank is a pretty hardcore movie aficionado, man. Like he's critic level, right? So I told you mine, man. I'm waiting for the one that comes out next week, right? The
Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got to get some tickets in advance for that for sure.
That's the one I'm waiting for. So yeah. So excited. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. Obviously, also we're excited. We're gonna have a few guests joining us today, kind of sprinkled in here during the show. So very informal show. Just glad to be able to have this one. As kind of Frank mentioned, most podcasts on average, because I think there's so many millions now at this point of podcasts, but on average, the data tells us that most don't last 6 months. And if you can make it to 50, you're kind of in pretty exclusive company. If you can make it to 100, you start getting into the very small percentages. So truth be told, this is grand total. This is well over 100. We're actually kind of creeping up on about 150, somewhere right in there when you factor in some of our special series episodes we've had. And you factor in inside the 3 seasons, now entering the fourth season of Inside Texas High School Soccer. So, but specifically as it relates to just the 50/50 podcast episodes itself, the numbered episodes, it just kind of fell. It sort of kind of coincidence the way it kind of fell. Episode 100 was the one that we were targeting, or we weren't targeting. We were just looking at, this is the time frame for the 3-year anniversary, and it kind of just felt perfect. So thank you for being here again, gentlemen. And a little bit, tell us, kind of no particular order, tell us what you guys got going on. We talked about, we want to make this a very, very informal, have some fun with this. We're going to look at the year, what we have on tap here today. Going to look at 2023 as it relates to soccer in general, 2023 as it relates to the podcast, kind of favorite moments, favorite episodes, favorite things. And then we're going to also look forward to 2024 in addition to our special guests. So Steve-O, let's start with you. Thoughts on what's going on with you? What's new? What's the late? We haven't seen you in a minute, so we want to hear from you first.
Yeah, so I've been pretty busy with I coach for a soccer club here in San Antonio, Premier Football Academy, and been very occupied with so I coach a U16 boys team as well as a U10 boys team, academy team, and I actually ran into you on one of the academy days over at Folks.
Yeah.
You and your wife. So, but yeah, that's been keeping me pretty busy lately, training twice a week, as well as games on the weekends. And my older team is a travel team. So, every once in a while we're jumping up to Austin here and there. But so that's been keeping me busy the last 4 or 5 months, kind of going on break. That being said, I am doing private lessons, which is the 78 soccer training on Instagram. So feel free to give me a follow. I do private lessons for some of the.
Now, Steve, plug that in for us again.
Sure. Instagram, it's at 78 soccer training. So you'll see a logo, this logo on the page. So I had a good little session this morning with about 11 kiddos this morning. So I kind of broke them up into different groups this morning. So going to start doing that a little bit more often over the holiday. Parents are really wanting to get their kids, keep them moving during the holiday break. So that being said, it keeps me moving as well, and a lot of fun with that. So growing that kind of on the side in between coaching. So also been keeping track of course it's over now, but the NCAA women's and men's soccer tournament that was got to catch a couple games in person, the Big 12, as well as a lot of games on ESPN Plus. I made it a point to try to watch as many of those games as possible on ESPN Plus. So really good stuff. I'm excited for all the kids that are coming up into possibly MLS or NWSL. So we've got some good talent coming out. And then some former players that I used to coach, playing in across the U.S. It's got Arkansas, Texas, one soon to be going to LSU. So it's pretty cool to see them grow from youth soccer up to Division I, and Division II and 3 schools as well. So just staying busy. So that's why sometimes y'all, when you're promoting the show, I watch it, but I want to be on it, but that
coaching calls, man. We get it, man. The schedule, if you're coaching, you're coaching. That's
coaching
kind of the rule.
calls.
That's the rule with all of us, right? If we're on the field, we're on the field. That's how it works. So
but I make it a point to watch your show, and I just wanted to say special congratulations to you, as well as your wife as well. There's a lot of behind the scenes that goes on, for you to get to this point, putting that notoriety out there and communication out there for coaches, for players. We've even gone so far as to give some recognition to referees as well on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So, and colleges and high schools, and, what you're doing, and what I guess I should say what we're doing, it's
Correct.
really neat to be part of this team, and Rafa and Harry and Frank, and, it's pretty cool to be part of the team, and put that recognition out there for all those players. But today I kind of want to thank you, Hector, for all that you do. I think it's funny. I don't think a lot of people know this, but I actually knew your wife before I knew you.
Yeah.
coworker. I actually worked with Hector's wife at USAA. That's how we met, and then Hector and I met through lunch, but with his wife and such. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty cool what you're doing, and today, I mean, it's
Excuse
a
me.
lot of us, but it's also, special thanks to you and all the behind the scenes stuff that you do to get this organized. I mean, the audio and everything, the bracketology. I mean, that was, nuts. But yeah, no, very, very fun team to be a part of. And just wanted to say congratulations to you. It's well deserved.
Man, I appreciate it. I don't know, Rafa, Frank. I don't know if you guys can follow that up, man. Let's just end the podcast now, man. That was so good from Steve. I was like, man, am I dying? What's going on? It's like, no, I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you. No, it's great, but you hit on the key word, right? It's definitely not me, not I. The team. I'm, year 3. Yesterday was the official kind of 3 years in. What I'm equally most proud of is just being able to play a small part in the game and being able to grow what we're doing in the state, but also what's on this screen, and then some of what's not on this screen behind the scenes that we know. It's just a couple of other members of the team, but just the fact that what it's become, what it's growing into, or it's organically materializing into as the team. I think that's what I'm very proud of. That's what I'm very happy of. So yeah, so definitely we, not I. So I appreciate you. Rafa, what's going on with you, man? What's new?
Just finish up traveling. All the travel I've done since August, all the recruitment. I still got one more trip on Monday, and then that's it.
One more. Everyone's on Christmas break, man, and they still got you working, huh?
Actually, I'm going to Uvalde, so I'm going to talk to their students on Monday. Yeah. Actually, there's some schools still open until the 22nd, believe it or not.
Is it? Oh, yeah, actually, even in town here in San Antonio. Yeah.
I think it was Southwest. I think
are they doing like half days, or is it a full days?
I heard that I don't know.
It's full days.
Some of them, one of my wife's friends.
Southwest, I think they finish out the 23rd, but then they'll be off from the 25th to the 9th of January. So it just depends on the districts. But
so they basically they push it back a week, basically. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, since they go by hours now instead of the days, so they
right. Yeah.
That way they finished earlier, I guess, in May. But yeah, this is the last trip for this before hitting again the spring season, which should be tail off. It shouldn't be too much. So a lot of doing stuff on the road, and now it's kind of getting back to the swing of things. So there's with the high school now starting. I don't know, with you, we already kind of kicked it off a little bit, and then also me and Harry with the roundtable show for the local San Antonio area coverage. So we're like I said, it's just been the busy part, and trying to take care of my health. Made some life changes back in August, and so I feel a lot better, even though I have a little cold right now, but I feel a lot better now.
Yeah, don't we all, man? I got that crud too. Don't we all? It's just going around, but I feel, it's like I was telling you guys, I feel great. Still sound a little nasally and congested, but yeah, it's definitely going around, man.
Yeah. I had a player out tournament last week because it's something that was going around, and one of my pretty strong players, and it was unfortunate but I just told him, nah, you got to stay home. But
yeah, we're having breakfast this morning, right? I told my wife, earlier today, I told my wife I think that the best I've sounded in like the last week was last night's scrimmage when I was yelling and shouting. I think that was like the clearest I felt like I sounded, which was hilarious. But yeah, so what else, Rafa? What else is new? Anything else going on?
Just try to go a couple of I went to your scrimmage last week. Checked out the team. I went to a couple other ones. Went to see Harry's son play. AJ plays for Stevens, so I went to go see them play for a bit. Right. So I'm kind of making my rounds a little bit. I know these games don't really mean much. It's just kind of get in the swing of things to see what's out there. And I'm just, the most thing I'm looking for just for the little break, and then because I know it's going to get back to the grind again. Right. And but this is I know this past year was a great year. A lot of moments. Doing that, the bracketology again. That was that was another
fun.
daunting task. That was fun. I'm sure it's gonna be another fun one coming up. And
Yeah, we might have to
and
think of a
then
new
just
format. Yeah.
yeah, because this one lasted, I think, what, 6 hours? Well, I don't know.
It
I
was
don't know
like
if we broke the
I
record.
think it ended up being what did we say? I think it was only like a 30-minute difference, wasn't it?
Yeah, we missed it by
Mhm.
we really got to do a little bit more in depth on the games so we can break that record.
Oh, we could have broke it. Yeah, we could have.
No, we could have.
I think we
Well,
were.
that
Yeah.
was one we stayed up to close to 1 a.m. I think the second time we did it.
But that was a
Well,
straight
yeah,
shot.
the first year
That
I
was a
joined.
straight shot.
Yeah. But that
Yeah,
was that was still fun though. That was fun because it was ongoing. But that was different though too because we also had, what did we end up having that day? Like 3 guests on that one. The
Oh,
6
yeah.
hours.
we had a
The-
couple
It's
people
from the
from
Valley.
the Valley,
Yeah.
El Paso, just to give their
Yeah.
point of view and
yeah.
who they thought was their favorites. And I'm sure probably maybe have some people again to come on to see what they think going on for this coming year. But then also the highlights, just talking to all the coaches that won state titles, some of the interesting stories, the players, I remember the player from Seven Lakes. He just became a real celebrity there on his campus, and
Yeah.
I said he couldn't. They've been spotting him, I guess, spotting him there at the mall. And, hey, I know who you are. You won the state title, and you're on this show. And yeah, so those are the. I think that's the biggest thing. Maybe part of the team and part of the show. And thank you, Hector, for let me be part of this. Our
Appreciate
partnership.
you
I know
being
when
on
it started with, being with with the Roundtable and with you guys, and it's just evolved. And it's just giving I think the most important factors is we're giving the proper representation and the coverage of the high school soccer, and because it really lacks of it. I know the high school football gets all the pretty much the coverage here, but I think ever since we've kind of come on, you can see a lot of the teams are really, especially through social media, they're really kind of making things out, the graphics and so forth, and presentations of their schedules, and even the player profiles. Kind of. I think the marketing is a key, how they market themselves to get noticed, to get recruited. I think that's this show's really been like I said, the champion for that, and it's helped like these players get recognized for all the talents that they've done. So I'm proud of it, and like I said, and then the expertise that we all of us have here, all backgrounds with soccer, with coaching and recruitment. Like I said, it's just top notch quality. We want to give the best for those players and people out there, keep them well informed for this.
Yeah. No doubt. I think. There's so many things. Yeah, and you talked about the graphics. Immediately, right when you said that, I thought of. I know earlier this week we posted. I don't think, was it yesterday or maybe it was Thursday. But I thought of Bay City, the Bay City men's and women's soccer programs. Those, the Black Cats, the Lady Cats. They just some of the graphics they do, man. The stuff that they come up with, I love it, man. So creative. It's hilarious. But let's take it over to Franco. Franco, we saved the best for last, hopefully, right? So tell us what's going on. I know there's so many things we're going to dive into as well that I know you're going to hit on, but as far as in the works, what we've gone over this year, but just what's new with you?
Just like personally, I got a new job about like 60 or so days ago, so I've just been trying to dive into that. It's like every other day thank you. It's like every other day I run into like a new like software that I have to watch like an hour-long tutorial to learn how to do on YouTube.
Oh God.
So it's going great. Going great. Everyone's real nice, so that's cool. Just trying to get in where I fit in, sort of the same thing that I'm doing with you. I'm like pitching newsletter ideas, but for a different industry. So honestly, it's not that different than what we got going on at the 50/50 podcast.
Yeah.
But what we got going on is we still got to work together and push on that season starter kit stuff. And we'll definitely have that out by before Christmas. We'll get a time in place, and we'll definitely push to get that out before Christmas. I got to update some of the recruiting calendar stuff, and I was thinking about hitting a new year, like what's coming Jan to maybe near the end of the high school soccer season, covering like recruiting dates during that time and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So just like a shorter version of the long recruiting idea to get like a more focused view of it.
Right.
What else do we have?
And we can hit more.
Yeah,
on
like
that.
we have we're gonna do some like player spotlights, maybe some recruiting case studies, kind of. Like did this kid use club? He committed. We don't really have any exact athletes for that yet, but we're going to work to identify some and see if they want to share their story and their recruiting journey.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's good. And I know we're going to hit on so much more in a little bit, but at this time we want to go ahead and we want to bring in our, what hopefully isn't our only guest of the show, but I almost did it. I almost introduced them as the coach of, you know what, but he is, an alum of the 50/50 podcast. He is Coach Sean Soderling. Coach, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Good.
What's going on, buddy?
Good,
Good
Coach.
to have you. So what's going on, man? Tell us what's the latest.
Oh, I mean, just living life right now in this moment. I was a basketball dad this morning, so that was fun. But no, announced that I was leaving Brescia on Friday, and got some things that are cooking, and I'm super excited for what's about to happen.
So we're here. You're gonna drop the breaking news right here. Is what I'm told. That's what I'm getting in my ear right now.
I don't know. I don't know who you heard that from. Don't know who you heard that from, but
I got it. Hey, you're the head coach. I heard it from the neck coach, your wife. She's the one that's saying that. No.
No, I don't know about that.
All right.
But no, man, big things are happening, and super excited.
Yeah. So okay. So first question I got: Are you officially no longer there at Brescia, or is this kind of a next month kind of thing? Where are you in that process?
So ultimately, like right now, I'm just helping with the transition. The assistants are still there, and trying to help with them and help with the recruits that are still wanting to go there. But it's kind of I'm attempting to phase myself out over the next few days and week to kind of slowly move into the next chapter of my coaching career.
Okay, gotcha. So do you have a definitive like last day? Is that like in the books kind of thing?
I mean, I gave them one of the 31st. And it kind of seems like they want to try to push that a little bit earlier, which is fine. I mean, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So I would say probably just over the next week or so will be me just kind of wrapping things up there.
Okay. So, I talked yesterday, I saw the news, I reached out to you and I know you were trying to be evasive. You were trying to put it off a little bit, but no, I appreciate it. I know that when I reached out to you, I also mentioned it, right? It's like, hey, you're a grinder, man. You're one of the hardest working coaches that I know, just in terms of what I know behind the scenes that isn't on social media, in terms of what you've been doing, what you've done there at Brescia. Was it 3 years, 3.5 years? What was it?
4 years.
4 years, right? So
yeah.
Because I did tell the story. It's like you were one of the very first coaches that came to mind. Like I remember you got hired, and what was it, like 2 days later, the pandemic happened, right? The shutdown happened, something like that. I was like, oh God. So so at the time when a lot of programs were shutting down, you were trying to build one, right? So but just from the ID camps, the stuff that you do, obviously on socials as well, just ton of respect for what you're doing. Obviously, our paths have crossed multiple times, going all the way back to the soccer chat days. But I kind of want to just touch base a little bit on your time at Brescia, right? What maybe one or two things you reflect on where you started and where it was, where that program is, and where you leave it. You clearly leave it in a better spot. But what maybe one or two things are you most proud of when you reflect?
I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, we graduated really good kids who come through the program while I was there. We brought in really good players who, they worked just as hard in the classroom as they did on the field as well. But I think ultimately it's to take a program that was definitely in the bottom third of the country. And with the use of our players and our recruiting strategies and whatnot, made Brescia a household name across the country. People talk about the sisterhood still to this day. I mean, like that's a lot of the text I'm getting right now is, oh, well, what's going to happen with the sisterhood? They're going to be fine. They're going to be in good hands. And but obviously the biggest thing that comes to mind is making the conference tournament for the first time in school history last season. That's absolutely massive for that program. This year, beating our first ever nationally ranked opponent was another massive step. But I think I think the biggest thing that a lot of people don't look at is the growth. And I would say that's probably the thing I'm the most proud of is the growth of our team from, my first year, 0-11, we scored 2 goals. Second year, we won 2 games. We scored, I believe it was 4 goals. And then our third year, most wins in program history was 7. Made the conference tournament. We scored 43 goals that year. So I think my number one thing is, the moments that we had were great, but overall it's that growth that we showed each year.
Right.
I think is a testament to the work that the players did.
Yeah. And that's phenomenal. Congratulations to you. And I know definitely going to be excited to see where you land next. And did want to put it out there because I know this is going to kind of act as a teaser here, but we are setting up, right? We do have something in the works where you will be joining us here on the 50/50 podcast sometime very, very soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Christmas tradition from what I understand. So
it is, man. It is. What do you mean from what you understand? It is. I don't know. How's Nick, by the way? How's he doing?
Oh, he's doing good, man. Getting ready for baby number 2.
Wow. I did not know that.
If anybody heard the show this week, I made a plea to baby Rizzo number 2 to wait until January 17th.
Yeah.
So that way he could get to convention. Because essentially at the end of the day, Nick's availability at convention is going to be determined on what this baby does. So I make a really good plea that definitely go and check it out. To baby Rizzo number 2. So we'll find out if he or she listens to Uncle Sean or not. But Nick's doing well. We're both coming off a pretty big and busy season for us, so we're just kind of getting back in the swing of things with Soccer Chat. And but other than that, I can vouch that he just recently got a haircut as well. Nice. So we're kind of getting back to the swing of things where I feel like I know his every move again because we do take time off during our season. Right. To kind of focus on our teams and whatnot. But, he's doing well. We've got some big shows lined up over the next couple of weeks leading into convention and obviously coming on for the Christmas special with you guys at 50/50. And he's doing well. We actually had a good conversation the other night about he's trying to figure out how to be a father to 2. You got 2 bodies rather than just one that he's got to focus on. So I told him, as long as you can win the man-to-man game in the house, you're fine. So when you have to start playing zone, that's where the problems all come out.
Right. Yeah. Hey, as long as it's another Liverpool fan, he's doing a good job as a father.
I mean, some people are just born different, So,
yeah, we don't. Some clubs we don't have to mention, such as Chelsea, right? We don't have to mention.
Hey, big win today!
Hey, it's the first one since October. It's since October, so great job.
Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes.
They might have been the only club in the Premier League that had a longer losing streak than our San Antonio Spurs here, right? So. They got their first win last night over the Lakers since November 2nd. So
yeah.
No, I hear you. So, you mentioned Soccer Chat. What's kind of the latest there? Tell us what's going on that you did. I know obviously you're kind of ramping up to United Soccer Coaches Convention, but what's new or what's in the works? Or what changes? Are there any changes coming? What can you share with us as far as Soccer Chat?
I mean, changes. We got a new intro song. Our big joke is that we've matured as old men in the last few years or so. So we don't have the electronic pop music at the beginning. Now we've got nice little smooth jazz intro that we do. But no, I think we've always talked about it every year, and it's just kind of figuring out the technicalities of it. I definitely want to do some type of like video stuff with Soccer Chat. I think our conversations. That we've got lined up and kind of just the feel of the show. I think anything else, it's just kind of like let me phrase, it's kind of like some TV shows that get better each season. And I think that's kind of thing about Soccer Chat is it's gotten better each season. I do think that over the last couple of years that Nick and I take that fall season off to kind of focus on our teams and kind of put the podcast to the side, that we've had some really good shows over the last couple of years. I think in the spring, just because we're able to put, everything that we've got into it. So,
Yeah.
we got some big guests we're lined up. I know we've already made a couple of announcements for some coaches that we're going to talk to at convention. And we've got some more announcements for that we'll be putting out. We just had a great show with Jeff Van Dusen, the CEO of United Soccer Coaches. This week, we had Shay Hadow from the Shay Hadow group, Alpha Girl Confidence. Before that, we had a really good show for the first one of the season with a group from Louisville, from the new women's professional indoor team there called the Louisville Triumph FC, with former pro players, Aaron Yenny, and former pro, but mostly become a pro again, Kaylor Dickerman, who's a part of that organization. And I'm pretty fortunate that they have asked me to come on and help as a coach, which this was all before the Brescia thing. So
Right.
I'm, enjoying working with a top level of players. And so, we had a really good show with them on, but, Soccer Chat is what it is. We're just, we're the most professional, unprofessional podcast. We still leave our mess ups in there, and we just want everybody to know that we're as real as it gets, and it's a good place for conversation. Just like with what you all do. I think there's something to be said about coaches who can just get around, have a conversation, chat about the game without having to get out tactical boards and whatnot. We're normal people just like anybody else, and to be able to have those types of conversations are, I think that's what Soccer Chat's really all about. There's so much to learn from just, listening to people and them telling stories of their experiences and whatnot, that, we just want to keep that going for ourselves.
Right. And, you mentioned Soccer Chat. One of the things I wanted to thank you, you and Nick, is particularly you, is when I had first mentioned about getting this off the ground, right, 3 years ago, a little bit more than 3 years ago, obviously, but you kind of helped, you kind of definitely kind of gave some consultation there. And so I appreciate that. And, one of the things I kind of wanted to pick your brain about is, I'm just curious from your standpoint, checking in from afar. You've been on the podcast a few times. What, from your perspective, favorite moments, favorite thoughts as you've seen the podcast grow over 3 years? Anything?
Oh man. I mean, I think I said this last time, or like 2 Christmases ago when we did the show, like the presentation and the video and all that, like you are light years beyond what we're doing. We're just simple old dudes that just keep it straight audio. But I think the thing that I've come to really love about 50/50 is, it's almost like how do I say this? It's kind of like, our Soccer Chat's cousin. Like we have so many of these like other podcasts that we listen to, that these are people that listen to our show, did our Twitter chat, and now said, okay, I want to do a show myself. And so I don't want to say like like our stepchildren or anything, but like our cousins, like our family, like this like family of
Wow, I love it.
shows that have kind of, I don't want to say spawned from Soccer Chat, but how much your show has grown, and seeing the reach that you have. I mean, like you and I talk all the time, like I am so wanting to get even more enamored with Texas soccer as much as I can. And like when I need to know something, I know that this is a place that I can come to. And I think the quality content that you're putting out for coaches and for players is kind of unmatched right now. I love the fact that you keep it, you give a platform to the high schools, you give a platform to the clubs. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if we really want to be honest with ourselves in the game of soccer, it's about college and pros, that people, we see the glitz and glamour of that. But what
Right.
you're doing with the high schools, that grassroots level type stuff, that's why I love the most about 50/50. And it's like I said, I'm the proud uncle to see all these podcasts that have come around since Soccer Chat started. But you always say, like, as a parent, you can never say that one child is your favorite. But I would say of all the little the shows that have,
we're your favorite. We're your favorite.
there you go.
Say
There
it.
you go.
Say
So
it.
yeah, 50/50 today is my favorite podcast that has come from the Soccer Chat family.
There we go. Awesome. I appreciate that. No, I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys. And one of the things I want to share here is, it is well beyond me and the evolution of what it's becoming in our podcast team here, from Rafa and Steve and Frank. So that's one of the biggest things I think that I'm most proud of in terms of coverage. It's becoming a network, and I love that. I appreciate that. like-minded people with great intentions and big hearts that are trying to give to the game and grow the game. And for Rafa, Steve, Frank, any of you, any questions, any thoughts for Sean? I know Sean's got to get going in a little bit, but you guys got anything for him?
Coach, so the last 4 years, what is kind of like a highlight for you in the last 4 years being with the college you're at?
I think go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, just the school you were at. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm sure you've got multiple, but
Yeah, I think the highlight, of what I'm most proud of is going to a program without much history, without much tradition. And, at the beginning of people being like, well, I've never heard that. And I guess the kind of joke is that I grew up about 55 minutes from Brescia, and like I kind of knew of it, but didn't really know it. And to be able to, to have people call me and say, hey, I'm down in Florida on vacation. I'm wearing a Brescia soccer shirt. And 3 people at the restaurant have come up and asked me if I know about the sisterhood. That's crazy to me. Our team went to Australia for the Women's World Cup last summer. And, how many people there, we played a game against a local club, and how many of those little girls came up and was talking to us, and they were talking about the sisterhood. I don't know if somebody paid them to say that, but it was like they knew who we were. And to have a program that, those kids that I got to work with are so special, and that program itself deserves all the love that it can get. We're a super tiny school in a middle to small size town in Kentucky, with a group of kids that they work so hard, and deserve so much more. So I think the thing that, the highlight for me is just the reach that our little school was be able to go to, well documented in the summertime. I travel a lot for camps, and, when I go to Texas and do a camp down there in the summertime, kids know who Brescia is. They come up to me, they start asking me, they follow us on social media. When I go to the West Coast in California, it's the same thing. When I go up to the Northeast, it's the same thing there. I definitely would say my favorite thing is just the reach that we've been able to put into the program, and all the places that we were able to bring the program to, and the living rooms that we put it in as well.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. And I'm a fan of the show as well. I saw that y'all had your new episode drop, and it's on in my queue to be listening to that one. So congrats to y'all as well, you and Nick as well too.
Thank you.
Good stuff that y'all are doing.
We try. I mean, it's I don't know. We don't know how to be anything other than ourselves, and I think that was a thing that we kind of learned throughout the beginning of the show. Was like at some point, like we just had to be who we were in real life, and once we've done that, it was like 2 weeks ago on the show. I don't know what I just like kept barking throughout the interview. And I don't know what. I mean, I guess the joke is I got that dog in me, but there was no need for me to do that, and I just kept doing it. So we're unapologetically ourselves, but no, I just we're really proud of the work that we do, as low quality of work that it may be.
It works,
Soccer Chat, but yeah, it like I said, it defines who we are. It's kind of like Nick says, anytime people talk about the way that we dress and everything for games, comfort over professionalism any day of the week. And I think that's a good way to describe Soccer Chat.
Awesome.
Great
Congratulations.
stuff. Great stuff. Franco, go ahead. What you got?
Not really a question for you, but more like for the athletes listening. Could you list maybe like 2 or 3 of your favorite ways that athletes could always get in contact with coaches?
Oh yeah. So I think that obviously the best way is email for a lot of coaches. I would say majority of coaches will say email, getting us the highlight video, letting us know of the schedule, things like that. Then you have some coaches who are a little bit more, I guess, accessible. I guess that's kind of one of the traits that I have is, my wife jokes that my phone is constantly, on me at all times, because it's like I'm constantly doing things. I'm a coach that you can text me, you can DM me. If you got a new highlight video, tag me in the post for it. Always watch it, give it a like, things like that. But I definitely think that, for athletes, those emails are going to be so beneficial for you. Because that's going to be kind of your way to, it's your introduction to a coach. It's a way for them to see you as well. But you'll learn as time goes on. You know, maybe this is a coach that, you know, instead of emailing, hey, I can send them some direct messages, you know, with some updates, or it may be a coach, you know, I typically get to a point with a player and I just say, hey, here's my number. Any updates, whatever, just text it to me. So, you know, you get a feel for it, but definitely start things off with an email. It's very, very professional to do. But again, I'm one of those coaches that it doesn't matter to me. You can email me, DM me, shoot me a text if you got my number. Just communicate with me however you can.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Again, he is Coach Sean Soderling, the former, right? We can call you former.
Wow, it's crazy to hear.
I don't know if that's official or not. That's why I was asking. But the former head women's soccer coach of Brescia University Bearcats. So, Coach, this has been great. Really appreciate you. I know we will be in contact very soon about trying to get both you and Nick on for the holiday edition. If not, worst case, I know we're going to get, or I shouldn't say worst case, but we'll still have you.
No, that would be worst case scenario.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But anyway, no, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here. Wishing you the absolute best. And I know we're going to be in store for some great news soon. So in terms of what your next move is. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me on, and definitely going to go back and keep watching the show now.
And for our new listeners that aren't familiar, maybe some that aren't familiar with Soccer Chat, give us a little shameless plug there. Where can they find
it? We're everywhere at Chat Soccer. Somebody took Soccer Chat and Chat Soccer with an E, so it's ChatSoccr. On Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. You can download our show or stream it from literally any podcast platform in the world. You can get it anywhere. And I also be remiss if I didn't throw this in there. We had this guy called the Convention Clause. He's like Santa's like little brother or something like that. That United Soccer Coaches, if anybody's interested in going to convention, our discount code is going to work until the end of the year. Everybody else's discount code was done a week ago, but ours is going to be going through the end of the year, and it's just Soccer Chat 24. So hopefully anybody who's thinking, man, like I kind of want to go, but I want to save some money for the holidays, you can do it with Soccer Chat. You can thank Nick for that promo code Soccer Chat 24, but just type in hashtag Soccer Chat on the Google machine, and you'll find everywhere that Soccer Chat is.
Now, is the code the Soccer Chat 24? Does that have an E in it? That one, the code for
that one definitely does have it.
Okay, just wanted to clarify on that one. So, all right, again, he is Coach Sean Soderling, and brother, appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and look forward to talking some more soon.
No problem. Thank you, fellas, for having me on.
Take care, brother. We'll see you. Have a good one. All right, guys, awesome. So, thoughts on that one?
That was pretty cool. That was good. I started listening to their show. I think it was early last year, and came across their show probably through you, and found myself going back to listen to previous episodes that they had, not just their more recent ones. So for those that haven't listened to their chat, I mean, it's a really good show. So go follow Coach Sean and Nick as well.
Yeah, they've done great stuff. Great stuff for sure. So big fans of theirs. So awesome, man. So we got guest number 2 coming in right behind him. We're going to go ahead and bring him in now. He is Mr. Jeff Organ, the founder of the Texas Soccer Journal. Jeff, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine, Hector. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, we're doing great. We're here. We're blessed to have you as well. And great back-to-back guests there between you and Sean Soderling. So, Jeff, it's been a minute since we've had you as well, and you really was interested in bringing you in because I know you were there at the very beginning as this was launching, and when I was lucky enough to be there on one of the subjects on Texas Soccer Journal, and really wanted to make it a point to try to have you here and check in and see how things are going with you.
Yeah, things are going fine. Been kind of a busy year. I moved and
right,
and and just trying to keep in touch with growing old, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. So tell us what's you moved. What else is going on? What's new?
Well, not a whole lot. I'm still paying a lot of attention to what's going on in soccer in Texas, though. The site has pretty much been on hiatus for quite some time now, and And the pandemic really had quite an impact and sort of shut down what I was doing at that point. But to be honest with you, I sort of reached an age where the thought of sitting in a bleacher seat somewhere watching a lower league game when it's 95 degrees outside doesn't have as much attractiveness as it used to have. But the I did want to make a couple comments about some things. Number one, I'm really extremely pleased with the progress you've made in the 3 years since you first started this thing, and we had some conversations. And I wouldn't say I was skeptical, but I was curious about how, when you were dealing with a landscape where there's 750 high school soccer programs, there's 140 scholarship granting programs in universities in the state, with frankly a sport that, let's be honest, at the high school and even the college level is in many respects for years has been pretty much a friends and family kind of a thing. I was curious about how you were going to break through and do this, but you've done it. You went from a couple hundred followers, you're up in the thousands now. You've built quite a network, with the help of people that are with you on the show today, and the quality of what you've been doing, how you've expanded to multiple platforms, and the work that you've done at the TASCO convention and other sorts of things. It's been a real pleasure to be able to follow you over 3 years and watch as you've grown and your team have grown this and I would echo what Rafa said. I've noticed, all the time that I spend on X and other platforms right now, and how much more of a community there was than when I first started this whole process in 2017. And I'm very, very happy for that.
Wow. So thank you for the kind words, and really appreciate that. They do mean a lot to me coming from you in particular, just because, as you remember, when you covered that article piece that I was fortunate to be on for your work in Texas Soccer Journal, it was right at ground level, right? It was very much ground level. So, and I know, and you expressed not the skepticism, but it's just like, how are you going to do it? And I remember we had some conversations where it was like, I don't really know how. I just know that I kind of, in listening to some of the people that have not broken through, but are, I guess, giants in the industry, particularly in the podcast industry, right? Is they just keep putting out the content, just keep putting out the content, just keep putting out the content. And yeah, I mean, I think what I've been most fortunate enough is, first of all, starting at home with the incredible support of my, as Steve mentioned earlier, my wife, and she sees the bigger picture, and she sees the passion behind it, and she's such a big instrumental force in just allowing it to in allowing the support, and allowing my availability for so many things, because I get that question all the time from coaches who are like, man, you're a teacher, you're an educator, you're a coach, you've got daughters in club and all this, and how are you doing this as well? And that's a big part of it. But then beyond that, it's just the buy-in and the support from our team, seeing this grow into the team that we have, from Rafa and Steve and Frank, Harry, who is not here, just to name a few. And then that network, right? That network of coaches, and just so humbled, appreciative. And that was really what this kind of, when we have these anniversary episodes, that's the real reason why I like to have them, is to bring people together, talk about stuff, talk about, look back, reflect a little bit, and then just things that we can do going forward as well. So it's very important, especially as we all know this time of year, to take the time to reflect and be appreciative for the many blessings that we have. So Steve, Rafa, Frank, any questions for Jeff?
I was going to ask Jeff, as far as the coverage, what do you see as far as the future for the high school coverage?
As far as my blog, or just in general?
Just in general.
It's interesting. My roots in high school soccer go back quite a ways, actually. I'm dating myself here, but I grew up in Northern California, and I went to a private Catholic high school that had a soccer program, which, in the late 1960s was still a very unusual thing, even in California. And I would happen to be editor-in-chief of our newspaper and sports editor. So I got a chance to watch it very closely and to see what's going on. And I'm, frankly, I'm really surprised on many levels with how much the sport has grown in the state. And it wasn't, in reality, when you look at soccer in Texas, it really didn't get started until 1967. When Lamar Hunt brought the Dallas Tornadoes to what was then the United Soccer Association. And Houston also had a team, too, that was brought in by Roy Hofheinz. And high school soccer in Texas didn't get started until the early 1980s. And, in that time period, you've now grown to 750 programs. And it's really made an enormous difference in what's going on. And when I first started my site in 2017, I did it, frankly, because there was nobody talking about soccer, very few people talking about soccer, except for maybe the MLS teams back in those days. And I've noticed that in the 6 years that have come since that time, that there are lots and lots of places that are doing it now. There are podcasts all over the place. There are Substacks and other people that are involved at all levels. And the work that you guys are doing in terms of integrating and bringing together the program within the state, it's just a matter of you just have to keep showing up. And I told Hector that at the beginning, that these things don't happen overnight. And you just have to keep doing the work, and you are doing the work, and it's outstanding. And you're right, Rafa, there is a groundswell that is beginning to start to build to try to make soccer more relevant at the grassroots and high school levels than has ever existed before. And I don't see that doing anything but continuing to grow. And I do want to make one other point, too, that one of the things that makes me the happiest is when I see things happening outside the major metropolitan areas in Texas, because clearly soccer has been relevant in the major metropolitan areas, for quite some time. But in other parts of the state, it hasn't been. It's been, completely ignored in a lot of cases. And over the last year or two, there has been some really interesting things that have happened in places that you wouldn't expect them to happen. And starting with El Paso, with Ricardo Pepi, and what he has managed to do in representing soccer from growing up in El Paso and now being on the, a mainstay and a significant goal scorer in the U.S. national team. And then the work that Michael Hitchcock has done in other parts of the state to bring lower level soccer, and specifically to Lubbock, where the Lubbock Matadors, and the only history that Lubbock has ever had with soccer was with an indoor team back in the early days of the United Soccer Leagues in the 1980s. But this program came out of nowhere, and they're filling 5,000 seat stadiums now over there with the work that's being done. And then the first independent USL League One team in Texas, other than North Texas Soccer Club, which was affiliated with FC Dallas, is going to happen in Sherman and Denison on the Texas-Oklahoma border, which, frankly, when I saw that wasn't ever going to be on my bingo card of where that was going to happen. And then most recently, you have the people with Corpus Christi FC down there are going to build, in conjunction with the city, a 5,000-seat soccer stadium that I think will eventually lead to a USL League One or an MLS Next Pro team at some point in the future. And then finally, my favorite story of all that ties back into the high school game is Bernardo Kamungo up at FC Dallas, who came over here from Nigeria when he was a young teenager. His entire soccer career, when he was living in Abilene, of all places, was in Abilene High School. And he parlayed that into, an open tryout with North Texas Soccer Club, leading to a contract with FC Dallas, leading to a significant level of participation with the United States national U23 soccer team. And that's a phenomenal story and an example of what has happened with soccer in Texas and the potential for what could happen in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, my name's Steve. I coach soccer here in San Antonio and for a soccer club. And I'm starting to see, towns like Floresville, that we're playing against, clubs from Floresville, Flowtown Kicks, I think that was their name, Elgin United, Bastrop. So you're starting to see that, small town USA kind of put their name on the map as far as, trying to get into the beautiful game, and seeing those towns, come around, and put those teams together, and compete, not just, show up, but actually compete. It's pretty neat thing to see. And I've kind of been around the Texas soccer, high school, been following it probably since the mid 90s. And so, you would never see, schools like that on the map. And now you're starting to see those kind of communities come together, and not just the big cities. I mean, Lavernia is another one here around town that's, kind of putting their names on the map. And, Rafa goes and watches, different, towns around here too.
The biggest one I think I did, the community really appreciated. I think me and Harry went to Hondo 2 years ago,
right,
when they started
Yeah.
their program, and we live streamed both their boys and girls game, and their fan base were excited that we were there, that we were featuring them. And it's for a Kickstart program doesn't have club soccer, doesn't even probably even have rec soccer, start from scratch, but they're very appreciative, for me and Harry to be there to feature them and so forth. And you're starting to see other communities, like Pearsall's another one that just started soccer last year, Poteet, and like Steve mentioned, a lot of these rural towns are starting, especially even some of the West Texas ones too. You're starting to see those 3A, 4A teams pop up and start those little programs, because, like I said, a lot of them have those hidden jewels, that those diamonds in the rough, that you never know, they may end up being like the next, your next, Pepe or so forth.
Yeah, and
it
I've
was
been
very
going to the
much.
state.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Steve. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've been going to the state tournament in Georgetown, for probably 20, 25 years or so. And, I think it was in the late 90s or early 2000s. They added, back then it was just pretty much 5A. Then they added a 4A classification. And, when I would buy the program, when they added the 4A, they've got the map of Texas, and they have a little star of, where every, team is from. And, I think it was Granbury that won on the boys side, that won like the first 4A title or something like that. But yeah, I'm like, so where's Granbury? And so you see the star on the map, and it's not, it's near Dallas, but it's like kind of far from Dallas as well. So, you're starting to see it spread out a little bit more, and it's not just the, I-35 and I-10 triangle. It's starting to, like Rafa said, even go, west. And I mean, El Paso's always been kind of on the map, Hector, but,
Right.
but I mean, you're starting to see a little bit more, like Jeff said, Lubbock and those kind of schools, start to show their face a little bit more as far as, getting their name and brand out there.
Yeah, and you talked about, Rafa, you mentioned the 4As and the 3As, and one thing that was kind of evident of that was so last month when I was at Tasco, the Tasco convention there in Galveston, they had first time they've ever had it was a small school coaches social, and they had, I think it was probably about 125, 150 people in attendance, right?
Wow.
And it's already a convention so they broke their attendance record. There was just under, I think, 1,100 in attendance. I think it was just under or just over. I can't remember. But it was a new record. And but yeah, just even seeing events like that, you're seeing the demand increase, right? So I think that just speaks volumes in terms of what you're talking about there. So Jeff, I'm kind of curious, switching gears here a little bit. Thoughts on I was going to ask you about your Houston Dynamo, and I'm sure you can expand on that a little bit if you want. But kind of, I caught wind of this late. Excuse me. I caught wind of this news late yesterday that came out of MLS via the Open Cup. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about because I was in a scrimmage last night, so I caught it late. What are your thoughts on that?
Seriously. Oh,
Yeah, if
I don't.
if you can surmise that into like 30 seconds, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do this in 30 seconds. My history with the Open Cup goes back quite a ways, actually. In fact, I first saw my first Open Cup game in the 1990s, and I've seen Open Cup games at all levels, from the lowest levels where there was nobody there, all the way up to the championship game that the Dynamo won in 2018. And I have an enormous amount of respect for the Open Cup. It is a very, very complicated question, and sports honestly has changed. And the world that exists out there today is not the world that I grew up in. Everything is done with TikTok these days and done with videos, and people watch highlights and they don't watch entire games anymore. And it's all about star power, and it's all about money, and it's all about controversy. And I don't know how the U.S. Open Cup and the history of the U.S. Open Cup plays in that kind of a world. And it did not shock me when MLS did what they did. And I do have opinions about it, but I can't do that in 30 seconds. So I'll leave it at that.
I know, but I'm just,
it's a very complicated question.
I know it is. I know. I guess the question is how, talk about your prototypical, how do I express this? Your prototypical Friday afternoon, Friday evening news dump, right? As if it's somehow going to get missed. But I don't know. Every time I think I couldn't possibly be surprised yet not surprised, more news like this comes out, right? So I'm just, I don't know. It is a little concerning, especially on the, just when you talk about on the men's side and the ripple effect of what you might see through MLS and the college game and how that's going to impact clubs. I don't know. It's just, I'm starting to connect a lot of the dots here, I guess.
Well, I know it has not been a very popular decision. And to be honest with you, I wish it hadn't happened. But again, I think it's a different world. And, and MLS is carving its own path. And, the league's been around now for a long time, and they still are trying to get traction. And, Clark Hunt from FC Dallas, is Lamar Hunt's son, was interviewed for that Athletic article that came out the other day about that. And he talked about how they don't view this thing, that he believes he and his family have learned through, the history they have with soccer in this country, which goes back decades, that this is not a 1 to 5 year plan kind of a thing. This is a generational sort of a thing. And, they view the world very differently than MLS does. And I think they do. And it's, there's a lot of money involved. There's just so much, it's so complicated. And I'm not candidly going to get too excited about this until, they said they were suspending it for 2024. And it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of discussion goes on in the background over the next year between U.S. Soccer and MLS about trying to fix what is a very flawed product, and bringing it to a degree to where MLS may be able to re-engage. And I hope they do. Yeah.
Yeah. That, and the link with the agreement with Apple TV as well. There's so many variables in this. And you're right. There's so much to speak to when you say it's a different world. So no doubt. So as we start to wrap up here, Jeff, anything you want to share with us, whether it's about your Dynamo, as we mentioned, anything? I know you mentioned, Texas Soccer Journal being on hiatus. Any news coming out of that? Thoughts on that? Anything you can share with us? Any plugs? Anything?
Well, I guess I gave up my Dynamo season tickets because trying to make the 3 hour drives between our area and Houston was getting pretty old. But I'm happy to see them relevant again, and obviously them getting to the MLS Western Conference Final this year was quite was quite interesting and made me quite pleased to see that. And I think Pat Onstead, one of our original gangsters, was and now he's back as general manager of the club, they have a pretty bright future. I think they can be relevant, but it's a very different league from when it was when I first started following them when they came to Houston in 2006. And much more competitive than it was back then. And as far as Texas Soccer Journal is concerned, I am going to come back in 2023. But it's a very, like I said, it's a very different landscape. There's so many people covering so many different things right now. And unfortunately, I was hoping that the Striker Texas, when it came, that would have been able to get some traction. But unfortunately, them, having to suspend the operation is kind of a reflection of soccer media in general. But also a little sad. I do intend to come back, and with probably a mixture of history and talking about soccer history, and because that's kind of where I am with my perspective, and focusing a little bit more on some of the lower league sort of things, and the story in Corpus Christi, the story in Sherman, the story in Lubbock, and at the same time trying to dive in a little bit, maybe in conjunction with you, with some of the high school and college things we talked about too. So we'll talk about it and figure out something in 2023, or I'm sorry, 2024.
So just to clarify, you'll be back. You are bringing Texas Soccer Journal back in 2024 , right? We are getting
in probably in a different format. The WordPress format that I was using is an older format. And so it may be with a Substack or something along those lines. I'll probably approach it from a little bit different perspective. I really, during the pandemic, when I wrote my series about the North American Soccer League, San Antonio Thunder, that I had so much fun doing that, talking to the, dragging up the old coach and talking with one of the players who coincidentally, it turned out actually played soccer in a high school that was in my high school conference when I was growing up. And so having the ability to do that sort of stuff, it was a lot of fun and I miss it. So yes, I do intend to come back in some form.
Great stuff. It's why I love him. He's such a great historian of the game, student of the game, and great analytical brain as well. So he is Jeff Organ of the Texas Soccer Journal. Jeff, thank you, my man. I appreciate you, buddy. Wishing you the absolute best. Happy holidays and the absolute best to you and your family.
And thank you very much. You guys keep doing great work.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank you, Jeff.
Great stuff, man.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
The history aspect sounded neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's wealth of knowledge there.
Yeah, he is.
And I like the way he speaks and verbalizes everything, and he had me cracking up for a couple with the bingo thing and stuff. So
Yeah,
he did not like that MLS decision, it seems.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people. I just kind of wanted, there was no way we could have him on and at least not mention that, right? Especially since it just broke yesterday. So, but yeah, he's tremendous. So make sure you get out there, support Texas Soccer Journal. You can find them, their website, the Texas Soccer Journal, as well as on X. I think it's TX Soccer Journal. I think it is. That's their handle. Get out there, support them, follow them. I'm very, very excited to hear that he's coming back in 2024 because it's on the fact his work, his content is incredible. And it's so, I'm not going to say undervalued, but underrated, just because not enough people get out there and just really absorb. But if you just give it a chance, it'll reel you in because it's just great. It's just great content. So happy to have Jeff on as well. And so great stuff. So we start looking back now, 2023, the year that was. Thoughts? We'll start with you, Rafa. I know you hit on it a little bit, but you look back maybe from the inside Texas high school soccer perspective. Last year we completed, season 3, or this past April, I should say, we completed season 3. Last month we started episode 1 of season 4, kind of a spin-off series that started by accident, right? And it kind of led to demand. So we brought it in as its own kind of separate show. But when you look back on things, thoughts on 2023 as far as maybe favorite moments, anything?
I think just seeing some of the teams, like I said, the one team, we were kind of looking at see how just the dominance what Salina did the girls what they did last year, and especially some of the teams. They beat some 6A teams right before their district play. I was excited to see, but also to see kind of taken a little bit almost to the limit by one of the teams in my backyard, which is the Burning Greyhounds. That was a good storyline. And then I think the other storyline was, like I said, the Salt Lake Carol girls with all that talent, and then them not making the final was a little kind of an eye opener there. But like I said, kudos, like I said, to Marcos on what they did, and the same thing with the kind of like the Dallas dominance. Still, we're still seeing that. Is Houston, San Antonio, even El Paso, are they going to be able to close the gap anytime soon? So those are kind of what we learned a lot from 2023, and then it's kind of leading a little bit into 2024 too. With some of the just recent information from from the convention and so forth, and hearing from other coaches.
Yeah. Steve, how about you, brother?
Yeah, no. Looking back in 2023, I've got a few moments that I really liked. Two coming from the show. First one being your interview with Coach Eric Belcher from Eastern New Mexico. And I just really liked that interview because of the fact that, like, he kept it real. He kind of spoke about being a college coach and moving from the East Coast over to, New Mexico. And the part that I laugh at, but it kind of sucks, is, he didn't realize the driving part, of the job, and, having to make drive the bus 7 hours to a match and drive back. And I felt for him, because there's times where I'm driving back from Austin and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to fight this traffic for an hour, maybe 2 hours. And this dude's doing it for 7. So I was like, and a bus, I'm just driving my truck. He's driving a bus full of, the girls that he's coaching. So yeah. And then interview with Randy Waldrum. I mean, just that's, pretty phenomenal for you to have that, that connection with him. And he's been, an alum of yours for a couple of years now. And to see him on the big screen with, the Nigerian girls national team,
right,
as well as Pitt. I mean, they had a really good run, not only in the ACC, but in the NCAA tournament. His Pitt girls team, they did some damage in that tournament, that NCAA tournament. So, the interview with him, he's just another wealth of knowledge. So those are, in regards to the 50/50 show, those are interviews that I just stuck out for me. And then the of course, bracketology, but I really liked the memorable part was Rafa, you and myself, that cold, rainy day at Comalander for Region 4. We thought we would leave there, right, with the rain delays and such, and you could literally see the storm come in, and it was a very
we needed Noah's Ark for that.
yeah. We were like, are we ever going to leave here? But looking back on it, it was pretty cool, to spend that time with you guys, throughout the day, and just watching the game that we love, Texas high school soccer. And we saw some good games there, especially some games that we didn't think that was going to go the way that we thought. But that's the beauty behind it. The beauty behind it is that's why I think it's Chris Berman, from ESPN. It's like, that's why they play the game. So yeah, you got to go out there and you can't just show up. So, but no, that just the memories from that day, and, having to look for a charger, like, man, like, how long are we gonna be out here? Shoot, it's like, it's supposed to, my wife's like, I thought you were gonna be home like at 6 or 7. It's like 9 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, 10 o'clock, I think. I mean, it was a long day, but it was just very memorable for me, spending that time with you guys. And it was fun. I mean, I just, things like that. I mean, memories that we make is pretty cool.
Yeah. Cold, rainy day at Comalander. I had one of those last night. I had one. So it's pretty synonymous, I guess, cold rain and Comalander. But yeah, so next time you get home 10 o'clock at night covering Texas high school soccer, that's when you tell your wife, you say, this is why they pay us the big bucks, right, Steve?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Yeah. Franco, how about you? Thoughts?
Oh man, year in review.
You did a
we
lot
got
behind the scenes,
Yeah.
especially with just the newsletter launching, everything we did. So
I would like to apply for Rookie of the Year.
Rookie season's not over, man.
Yeah, we got the podcast out. We got 3 or 4 really solid pieces of content put together that we hope athletes are using. Or, I was looking at our following list. We got a nice little bump after, or our subscriber list. We got a nice little bump after our first episode Inside High School Soccer. So it's pretty good. We got a good old little diaspora of like high school athletes, parents, and high school soccer coaches. So, it's going well. We just want to keep growing and trying to keep finding creative ways to deliver content that really helps the athletes over time. And then we got to get together on the site stuff. We got to get a silo structure going, so we got stuff to look forward to in 2024, but we also had a good year in 2023. In terms of like podcast moments, I'm going to give out some superlatives. I think I would say the best interview was Ahmad Brown. I found that one very informative.
Yeah, he's
the
good,
funniest.
AB's good, man. He's really good.
Yeah, he was sharp when he was talking about like when you're supposed to get touches and like the analytical stuff. I was like super interested in that. I love that type of stuff.
Granted, I think you're biased because he was at A&M at the time, but that's neither.
He's at USC now. It's fine.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's at USC now. Yeah.
And then my second superlative would be or not really a superlative. I really enjoyed the Eric Bell interview when you were like, you asked him about going to a high school soccer game and you reiterated when he went to a high school soccer game. That was one of my favorite moments of the year.
Right. Yeah. Hey, it got me a little by surprise. I was very happy to hear that, but did it surprise me a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And then the absolute funniest moment of the year that happened on this podcast is the Randy Waldrum when he was talking about the Bee Gees. I was like envisioning a whole team getting like pumped up in a locker room, and then like the coach is like, "Hold up," and he puts on like "How Deep Is Your Love" or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of had that visual too. I did, and Coach Waldrum keeps popping up. So, Coach, if you're listening out there, getting a lot of love on this episode. But he's been a big supporter of this podcast as well, and I'm grateful for him. And it just speaks volumes as to even at his level. And you could make the case that, man, in America, not many coaches had a bigger 2023 than him, just from the Nigerian women's national team and just breaking down everything they had to go through, which we can all agree on is BS, just to get there, right? And then how they shined there. And then, of course, what he's doing at Pitt, it's just phenomenal. Just so proud of him, so happy for him. Shout out to Coach Waldrum as well, and also, he just launched his new coaching community as well. So if you can go follow him at Coach Waldrum on Twitter X, and he has his new coaching community that he just launched. Go subscribe, help him out, and he's just a wealth of knowledge, incredible coach, but even just tremendous human being. So, yeah, it's been great. So now tell us a little bit. You mentioned 2024, Frank. Thoughts? What can you share that in the works, ideas, things at very early stages that you're thinking about as far as the newsletter? And then we'll hit on the website a little bit more later. But as far as the newsletter for 2024, thoughts on that?
I think in 2024, we're gonna work to get a better to better align our content with the recruiting calendar, like the NCAA one, like I think this past year we wanted to get something up for the June 15th one, but I think we were a little behind, so we didn't get like our advice up until like maybe it was only a couple days later or something like that. But if we could get stuff more relevant content out on a more appropriate time, that's like just one thing that I think will help it resonate better. But also we're going to, a lot of the stuff that I made on this last one, I'll continue to update and we'll get stuff centered out around that. So we'll talk about the value of ID camps and we'll resend out an updated 50/50 podcast camp list and talk about like some best practices that you could do before you go out to the camp. Also, I know we were talking about maybe collabing with Inside Texas High School Soccer some. We don't really have a formula in place yet, but we could do like games of the week. We could boost them out there to our team or something like that, or maybe certain player spotlights. Anything that y'all get me, I'll work on.
Great, awesome, and that is coming, by the way, in terms of next episode. Got to talk with Rafa a little bit more, but maybe very soon we're looking at episode 2 of Inside Texas High School Soccer, and Frank alluded to it a little bit. But one of the things that we will be bringing back, big hit, the Game Ball Awards. Maybe a team of the week award, certain accolades, certain things that we want to point out. So excited for that one. It'll be the state debut of the RPI, the Rafa Power Index, right? The Power 15. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It'll be lots of fun as well. As far as, I look back on 2023 from my perspective, just grateful for everything. I'm made a transition myself, and left one program, and I'm now at another. Very excited where I'm at, and looking forward to the future. Have just a phenomenal group of young ladies as well, and just tremendous support of administration, my athletic coordinator, and just very blessed. And then at home, the family, our health as well, most important. And then us, just this team, and watching what it's become. And so just cannot thank our listeners, our supporters enough. We always say it, always make it a point to share it, that you are the reason why we do it. And we'll continue to always say that, not because it sounds corny or cheesy, but I think as long as we continue to hear ourselves say that, we won't lose sight of the why, right? Very important, very important. So yeah, I mean, that's really an inside look at episode 100, and kind of wanted to roll out. Next episode is, if you're watching this, you can see this down on the ticker at the bottom of your screen. If you're listening to this, which you obviously can't see, is episode 101 coming on Monday, December 18th, 2 p.m. It is going to feature Jake Plant, the head women's soccer coach of UIW, the University of Incarnate Word here in San Antonio. So my alma mater. So excited for that one as well on multiple fronts. Coach Plant just wrapped up his first year this fall. So excited to have him on, pick his brain as well. So, and he seems like a great ball of energy as well. So definitely going to be excited to have him on. So 100 episodes in. And again, and we did mention it earlier, we're probably looking at 100, and we're creeping. I think we're just under or just over 150 total when you factor in Inside Texas High School Soccer and some of our special edition episodes as well. So want to thank a few people. Our first and foremost, NSR, National Scouting Report, as well as my man Greg Smith, what they're doing in support as our title sponsors of the podcast. Grateful for them. Our proud partners at Gipper, and what they're doing and how they're just so extremely supportive of us, as well as Kyle Wall and Bill over at Global Scarves, and just phenomenal work growing the game, what they do for Texas high school soccer coaches in our community. I'm grateful for them as well. So get out there, follow them, support their products if you can. Again, that's Global Scarves as well as Gipper. You can find them, you can follow them at Go Gipper as well as at Global Scarves. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead. Let's go around the room. Stoppage time. Final thoughts. What do you got, Steve-O? Let's start with you.
All right. Well, I'm also a fellow UIW alum, so I'll definitely be, watching that one, or if not, listening to it on Monday or Tuesday. So, very cool. But yeah, no. Thanks again for having me, and I was always a fanboy, right? Fan of your show. So it's pretty cool for me to for me to be part of the team. So I came on to the team in 2023, and passed the rookie status over to Frank now, who's doing an excellent job, and I vote him rookie of the year. So
permanent. I thought you were going to say permanent rookie. I thought you were going to say
no, I'm not that crude. But no, just very grateful as well to be part of the team. Like I said, I was a fan of your show, and it was pretty cool to get an invite. I think I actually last year was my 2022. I think when you had the Texas State playoffs going on, I was on one of those shows or something like that.
It was
But-
around. I think it was around Easter time. I think it was
Yes. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, but yeah, no, it's been great. 2023 being on the podcast, and I push it out there as much as I can, and some of the high school boys that I'm coaching now, have them go and listen to some of the interviews as well in regards to college recruiting. I mean, one of my boys was like, "What's an ID camp?" And they're starting to, they're freshmen now, and they're starting to ask those questions as far as like, what do I do? Like, how can I put myself in a situation to maybe continue this into college? So, this is a great platform and education for them to go out and seek information from. But yeah, no, just extremely happy to be part of the team, and I'm looking forward to 2024 continuously being part of the team, and going out there to watch San Antonio games. Probably can't get out to Austin or Houston or Dallas, but just here and around San Antonio, I'm excited for the upcoming season, and seeing the MacArthur girls, and going out there and calling some games with Rafa. That was a lot of fun as well. So I'm sure we'll be in communication to do some of that, and it's pretty neat to kind of see the kids that I grew up coaching, now seeing them play at the high school level, and some even at the college level now. So it's pretty cool to kind of see them, and out and about. And now I'm like talking to them, looking at them. I'm only 5'8", so I'm looking up at them like, hey, congratulations, when it used to be, down. So kind of see it, come full circle is pretty cool to see the kids out there, get that recognition out on the field. So, but yeah, I'm excited for 2024.
Yeah, awesome, great stuff. Franco, final thoughts? Anything?
I forgot a superlative. The best story, the Seven Lakes player that you interviewed.
Oh yeah,
when they won state, that was the best story. That was a great episode as well.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal story from where he was, where he started, what he had to go through, and then he ends up as the state final MVP. Yeah, pretty. And now he's at St. Edward's.
Yeah. It's stuff like that why I'm like happy to work with you, because not everyone's shining a light on that story, and I also love that we're not limiting ourselves, like y'all, Texas Inside, or us, Texas Inside Soccer, we cover the game, but also you're also a platform for the recruits, and what you say, made by the people for the people. That's what makes me excited to join the team, and I'm glad that we stick to those principles with everything that we do. Thanks for having me on the team, and I don't really have any other thoughts.
Appreciate it. Hey, that sound is incredible. Much better too. Great sound.
Yeah, what coach is that? Let's DM them. We're gonna have to compare notes.
All good. And we'll wrap up with Rafa. What you got, buddy?
I'm just looking forward for 2024. I know you kind of mentioned about the RPIs. I kind of let it give a little preview with the San Antonio version 2 weeks ago. I know.
Yep.
I got some little flack from some. You racked them too low, or what?
Where was Brandeis?
The boys or girls?
Didn't you have them too? Was it
The
boys?
boys.
Yeah, the boys had them too. Yeah.
Okay.
Boys are high.
Good.
Girls were
I
not.
made a strong prediction.
Yeah, the girls they took a shellacking from Taft on the scrimmage last week. But hey, you never know. Anything can happen. Hey,
Steve, in case you missed it, Frank said that Brandeis boys, I think, we're going to win the national title, the NCAA title. What else? Frank?
The World Cup.
The World Cup. They're winning the World Cup.
Champions League.
Copa America.
They're
gonna win. They're gonna win the Open.
Yeah. Point is, Frank is very high on him. He called his shot early. I was like, whoa, okay, all right. So good stuff.
I saw them last year, and they got a lot of returning players. So
they're going
to be very good. Their goalkeeper is very strong as well.
Yeah. Them and Johnson are probably going to be.
They're also in a tough district.
Them and Johnson are going to be neck and neck.
But that tough district prepares them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to look behind their shoulder because there's a couple other programs that they may have a little say on that, but and that's what it's gonna make this 2024 fun because I think for the boys side is really kind of there's like really no clear cut like dominant team like we've had how we had that lead those lead teams that were pretty much kind of untouchable. This year it's a little wide open as far as with the 6A for here in San Antonio. Same thing, but statewide, where we cover here for 6A boys, and I think it's still wide open too. I know Seven Lakes, I know they have that target on their back, but you got other great programs. I'm hearing good things like from Vandegrift. That's a team to look out for. You have your Soft Lake Carrolls, your East Lake. Me and Coach always Coach on about East Lake. They've been kind of like some, falling a game short from getting to the next, to get to Georgetown. So like I said, there's a lot of interesting stories. Even like I said for the girls side too, there's some great. That was doing that RPI for the San Antonio. That was tough. That was a lot tougher than doing the boys because there were so many good. There's so many good girl teams here, especially here in San Antonio, and I can only, and I know I'm already been brainstorming, just to give a heads up to everyone. I'm already been brainstorming about this as far as the statewide. That one's going to be a little tough for the girl side. It's going to be tough because I think there's about 4 or 5 teams that can be number one, just to be honest, and it's going to be tough. I'm going to kind of break some hearts there, but I've always been a heartbreaker, but sometimes you gotta be that way. The boy side too, that's gonna be interesting. But I think that's a little wide open to a little more wide open than the girls. So, but that's what I'm looking forward to. And then, doing some games with Steve again, that was fun. Especially, I know we had some technical difficulties, so I have a third pair of microphones just in case.
There you go.
I ordered some.
Dude, when you're going live, there's always some sort of technical difficulty. Always, it never fails. Something, even if it's just one little bug, it never fails. But yeah, that was great stuff. Such
Even in
great
bracketology.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one to see how. I don't know how we can top that one. I'm sure Harry's watching, and enjoyed the barbecue too. So I gotta give shout out to Road Barbecue. If you haven't tried it, you guys need to try it. If you're here in San Antonio, make sure, I recommend it. So especially the
absolutely,
brisket.
Absolutely great stuff, and big shout out to Harry as well. Couldn't be here, but appreciate him nonetheless. So, gentlemen, that's gonna do it. Thank you again for our listeners, our supporters. One of the big thing obviously is, and we'll be coming with multiple episodes, but still want to hear it, want to say it. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, be safe. All right. Make sure, I know we have today was a big scrimmage day around the state of Texas. So for our student athletes, stay safe, be safe. Usually the safest time is when you're in training or you're on the field in a game, but sometimes it's what you're doing in your off time, right? Where you can be in the wrong place, wrong time, or get into trouble or anything. So be smart, make smart decisions, make sure that you make it through the season. All right. So happy holidays, stay safe, everybody. For our parents, for our coaches, everybody, Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Enjoy some time off, some days off. I know a lot of us go right back into training next week because there isn't a 2.5, 3 week break during the holidays for those of us in season. So make sure you're spending that time, enjoying that time with the family, making the most of it as well. So, but yeah, that's going to do it. Grateful for all of you. Again, next episode is coming this Monday, episode 101, Monday. What is that again? December 18th, right? Monday, December 18th. And that'll be with featuring Coach Jake Plant, the head women's soccer coach of UIW, the University Incarnate Word Cardinals. Excited to have him on. And it's going to be great. So that is going to do it for episode 100. Gentlemen, appreciate you. For our listeners, our supporters, thank you again. We are Rafa Castorena and the Heartbreakers. So until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening. You've been listening to the 50/50 podcast, powered by National Scouting Report. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 50_50pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening.